Are you planning on racing 70.3 Poznan in Poland this year? Well, if so, this is the video for you because in it, I'm going to talk you through the swim, transition one in one place, the bike, transition two in another place, and the run course to make sure you're absolutely prepared to have a brilliant race day experience. But who am I? So, my name is Coach Steve or Stephen Moody. I am an Ironman U certified coach for over 15 years. And I've now recently become a YouTuber who specializes in reviewing 70.3 and full distance races around the world. And I do this by either of having raced myself, I've 14 70.3 finishes, 12 Ironman finishes, or I interview race directors, race organizers, athletes who have trained or train with to get their experiences to ask all the questions that you need to know. Is it a TT bike? Is it wetsuit legal? Is the run hilly? So in this, big shout out to a one of my triathlete club colleagues, Norbert, who raced 70.3 Poznan last year and allowed me to grill him for also the all the key things I need to know. And he's provided brilliant insight for this video. So let's dive in. So the now first thing to note about Poznan, it's actually quite easy to get to. It is because the direct flight from most cities with Ryanair into Poznan. The race venue itself is a split transition, so therefore there's T1 is in a different location to T2. So a little bit of logistics on that. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But advice is fly right into Poznan if you're coming from abroad. Um, don't rent a car because parking is difficult apparently. But the train system is great, and Ironman put on specific trains to help you get to the lake start, and then was it and it's very easy to walk in Poznan. There's lots of shops, hotels, etc. So it's a good location to bring your family for a bit of a racecation if you let them busy themselves while you do your race and then hang around for a few days afterwards. So um we'll start off with the swim. And by the way, there is a 5150, which is Ironman's way of trying to cash in on the Olympic distance market on the same day. But the timing is very different to you guys, and you barely get to see these guys, even though they're more or less swimming on cycling and running on the same course, different locations. But the timing is that staggered that all works very smoothly. But for your swim start, your day, it will start as a rolling swim start. I'll talk about that in a second. And the swim itself is in the lake. It is the water quality is good, a little bit murky, but like it's not pristinely clean, like something like Austria. But there's nothing really of note in it. It is a simple enough horseshoe shape out. Was it diddle do 900 meters up, 900 meters down, and then you're out and you exit onto the beach. So, a couple of things to note. Sighting is easy enough. You'll go up and you'll be turning at these red turn buoys. And then the only place you have to really sort of turn is when you're moving into the finish start, the finish and the swim exit, which will be here. It's onto the beach. A little bit of a tip when you're coming towards that after swimming for 30, 40 plus minutes. Make sure you kick your legs a little bit more aggressively. That helps to get the blood flow from your all circulate more through the body because when you stand up, you can see people getting all jelly legs. It's because they've tried to jump up too quickly and haven't got the blood flow from all the head from being horizontal for a while to when they're going vertical. A little tip on that. And it's normally wetsuit legal, but another thing about this race, it can be quite hot in Poland this time of year. So you'll feel that more on the bike and the run, and we'll talk a little bit about heat management as we go along. But fingers crossed you get a wetsuit swim, but it can be non-wetsuit because of the heat. Um, it is, as I said, but again, the swim itself will be uneventful for you. Straight down, turn, and out. Okay, and with standard Ironman distance, you have 1 hour and 10 minutes from when you cross the timing mat at the rolling swim start here to when you have to get out, or else you'll miss the cutoff. And I'll talk a little bit about how the rolling swim starts just now. So for those new to Ironman distance racing, Ironman no longer do the mass start where everybody bails into the water all at once, and it used to be terrifying for kind of weaker swimmers. You can YouTube, was it Ironman Nice or Ironman Lanzarote? You see those mass swim starts. They're very exciting looking, but terrifying if you're a weak swimmer. So what Ironman has put in place for the last 5, 6 years is what they call a rolling or seated swim start. So when you turn up on the day, you will be expected to put yourself into a pen or corral that equates to what your estimated swim time will be. So you'll see numbers for under 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes, etc. And you should know from your swimming and your training in the open water or for your average swim pace in 100 in a pool, what that'll equate to. So then you will get put into the corral, and then Ironman will let the stronger swimmers off first. And this is not a screenshot of Poznan. This is a screenshot of an American race, but I love it because it gives me something to talk to. And this is how it works. They will have these little gates here, and they will have volunteers literally holding out their arms. And this machine here will beep, literally audibly beep every 6, 7 seconds, and the guys will lift up their arms and they'll allow the swimmers go in. So as you can see, these guys are entered the water. I love this. This is the guys must start my Garmin. Top tip, start it there. And then they will all enter into the water. So that's how they control the swim start. It's nice and smooth. The stronger swimmers swim with the stronger swimmers, etc. So top advice here, even if you think you was it under pressure for the swim cutoff, do not put yourself into the 30-minute corral thinking you're buying yourself time. Your timing chip starts here. So even if you put yourself into 30 minutes and it still takes you 71 minutes to get around, you're going to get a DNF and you'll be pulled and you won't be allowed to go into the bike because Ironman that's the way it's working. The other downside, if you put yourself in a corral faster than you're actually capable of swimming, the stronger swimmers will go straight over you. Unapologetic, they know you shouldn't be there, and they know you've seated yourself incorrectly, and they'll dunk you because you're in the way. You're taking their water. Much better idea to seat yourself with people of roughly your ability. By if you're going to be a 50-minute swimmer, put yourself in the 50-minute corral because that way you'll be able to swim with swimmers of your own ability. You'll be able to draft on beside them. Drafting and swimming is 100% legal and it's a clever Ironman tactic. That's where you swim on someone's feet or on their hip and you help them sort of break the water. It's exactly like you do in a pool. We know when it's easier when you're following close behind someone. Do that in Ironman distance racing on the swim, not on the bike. It's illegal. Talk about that. That means you'll get, if you put yourself in the right corral, you won't get swam over and you'll get a draft from your swimmers. Much better start of the day. Please be honest in your seating. It'll set you up for a much better day. Okay, so we've done our swim and we're coming out up the beach and we are going to the T1 is a short run up from the beach. It's in a soccer pitch, so there's going to be running on grass and all the racks will be laid out and the racks will be numbered and you will pick up your actual race number when you register the day before or on the Friday, and that's when Ironman give you your number and when you pick up your kit. Top tip, if you want to be with your friends and if you're training with your club mates, register at the same time because they literally print out the number as you're there. So if you turn up and your number is 100 to 110, you'll all get those numbers and it means you'll be in the same location in T1 and in T2, which is cool. So that's my top tip. The other thing to note about Poznan, it's what we call a split transition. So your transition, where you transition from your swim to bike, is a different location to where you will transition from your bike to run. The T1 is beside the lake, and that's around 25 kilometers away from the city Poznan. And then the T2 is actually in Poznan beside the rail station. And that means you a little bit of logistics the day before because Ironman uses what we call a clean transition. So what is a clean transition? This is what this means that Ironman has a specific bag system that you have to have set up and a part of your transition flow that you will need to set up the day before. So blue bag is what you will transition from your swim to your bike. And I'll talk about that in a second. And red bag is when you transition from your bike to your run. It's different to your local sprint or Olympic triathlon because normally in those they use a traditional transition setup where you put everything beside the bike. But because in Ironman races there tend to be a couple of thousand people, they need to have it a bit more clean, and that's where they use this bag. So as part of your transition flow, when you exit from the water, you will run and you will run past a rack where all these blue and blue bags will be, and you will have set them up the day before. You take that blue bag, you take off your wetsuit, you put the wetsuit in the bag, and you'll have taken out your helmet and all your like your bike shoes if you're there, and your sunglasses or whatever you're going to be wearing on the bike, and that's the part of transition flow. Then you will return the blue bag to the rack, and then you'll run to your bike, and then you'll run to what we call the mountain line. So this is key and a top tip for if you're doing your first 70.3. You will need to have was it bring your bike and your blue bag. And don't worry about the blue bag and the bag system. There's a video in the comments below that talk you through exactly what you need to do and what you should pack and how it works in the comments below. And here's information on what typically goes into the blue bag. But what you need to remember is when you are checking your bike in and your blue bag in the day before as part of the overall race schedule. I talk about this at the end. Um, I strongly recommend you do a little bit of walking of what will happen on race day. So what do I mean by that? Walk to the swim start, look where you're going to enter the water, see the buoys, and then imagine yourself you have come out of the water and sort of walk, taking lots of photographs on your smartphone, taking note of landmarks that you need to run by to where your bike is going to be. And therefore that's where you're going to pick up your bike, and then note where you have to run to the bike exit, where we have again, as I call the mount line, and you can only get on your bike when you've passed that mount line. So this will give you the advantage of when everything is happening on race day and everyone's screaming and lots of adrenaline, you're coming out of the water, you're feeling like a champion because you were nervous about the swim. You don't do that. Run past the blue bag, go back to get your blue bag and running into people. Run past, can't remember where your bike is because you didn't remember what number rack or letter rack it is, or you didn't have a good landmark. Walk it through. Know your ins and your outs. Know where you're going to come out, where you're going to go into the water. Know where you're going to come out of the water. Know what turns you take. Write it down. And that way, the night before, you can refresh your mind and go, okay, right. So I come out of the water, I take a left. My blue bag is on the third rack down. I take that, and visualize it in your head. I'm going to put my wetsuit in, my helmet goes on. You can only touch your bike after you put your helmet on, or else you get a penalty. I'm going to run to the third rack down. My bike is in the middle of that rack. I run straight down, take a right, and then that's where the bike exit is. If you walk through this in your head, it will become very methodical on the day, and you won't make any silly mistakes, which could lose you minutes from your time. And it's really annoying if you're aiming for sub 6 hours and you get 6:01 and you look back and you said, I got lost in transition for 5 minutes. Take your time, map it out, give yourself something to visualize. Check out the video for what's in the bags, um, and just take your time in T1. It's better to have a slow T1 controlled because you need to get a lot of things together, making sure you have your bike bottle set up, your bike computer's right, you have your helmet on, etc., etc. Take your time in T1. T2 is a different matter, and we'll talk about that shortly. Okay, guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. Thanks again to Norbert. Give him a thumbs up saying thanks for sharing his time. And if you want to make sure you get other race reviews, I've now got 70 plus race reviews of 70.3 Ironman races all around the world. Tell your friends, check me out, and subscribe because I also do training tips, etc. and content. Okay, so we're now onto the bike course, and this is a fast track. It is flat, the road surface is good, and also it's so well policed. That was one of Norbert's key pieces of information. He goes, "There's so many police on it, even though it's closed roads. They are manning all the aid stations and all any junction to make sure everything's good. So it is a fast track. It's as I said." Other thing here, it can get hot, so make sure you've got a lot of your hydration set up well, and use the aid stations. We'll talk about that here. So, you come out of T1, ignore the blue line. That's the 5150. We are the red line. And again, it's flat. There's no real technical turns. There's this one kind of turn around here around the 50, it was at around the 45k mark, but that's it. It's flat. It's good surface. The no elevation of note. There's a little bit of an overpass, I think, at around 50 kilometers, but that's it. The rest of it is time to get down the aero bars and blast it out. Aid station wise, you've got one at around 20 kilometers. You've got one at around sort of 27 kilometers here. No, sorry, that is, oops, one at 20 kilometers, one at around 25 kilometers, one around 45 kilometers here, and then another one at 65. So you've got four options to the aid stations, and I'll talk about them in a second. And they will be key for making sure you get on board liquid and fuel. You can make yourself fuel for the race itself. It is, as I said, lovely roads, flat, very TT bike friendly. It's the one of the good thing as well. It's quite. It was Norbert was saying it's quite sheltered in terms of tree cover, etc. So you're not actually baked completely in the sun. There's a bit of shelter here. That comes later on in the run, but we'll talk about there. And make sure you are on top of your hydration, top of your nutrition, and you will do a good bike split on this. It can get a little bit busy as well. Just keep an eye out for it. Make sure you're not drafting. That's where you are within 12 meters of the cyclist in front of you and getting an aerodynamic benefit. Don't cheat. It makes you a bad person. Um, okay, we are now. And in terms of the timing cutoff, with your swim, your T1, and your bike time, you've got 5 hours and 30 minutes to get back into T2, and then you will be allowed to go on the run. But as I said, it's a fast track. The road surface is nice. It's well marshaled. Volunteers are absolutely top notch, apparently, what Norbert was saying. So take advantage of that. That will give you energy to get down and get going. Okay, aid stations. These are what I would describe as high risk yet high reward. I'll start with the reward part. You need to make sure you're fueling for the bike and also for the run that your half marathon that's coming. So, um, it's important you know where the aid stations are. You know, have yourself set up that you know how to use an aid station, and then you will actually make sure you're fueled correctly and you will get a good overall time. We'll talk about the risk in a little bit, but I want also to highlight one thing. This, it says trash at the start, a drop at the start. That's the trash zone starts, the trash zone end, or rubbish if you're coming from Europe or Ireland. What does that mean? This is the only place on the course where you can throw empty bottles, empty gel wrappers, banana peels. I don't care if they're biodegradable, you can't chuck them. If you throw them anywhere else, two things will happen. One, you will be known as a dick in the triathlon community and will not be very popular. We are guests in Poland. We want to be able to come along and not leave any trace of a footprint of ourselves, because then Poznan will invite us back to race again. They won't if we litter this beautiful countryside with our gel wrappers. The second thing, more importantly, you'll get disqualified. If you get spotted by a marshal littering anywhere outside of these trash zones or rubbish zones, you will get disqualified. And that's such a dumb way to lose out in a medal. Okay, back to my risk point. One, as I said, there's lots of moving parts in an aid station. One, that there are, as I said, people can chuck their empty bottles, wrappers, etc. There's things moving here. There's a cyclist coming in to the aid station, moving in. The volunteers are holding out bottles, which will typically be 750 ml bottles that will fit into a standard bottle cage. And this is a standard flow. They will have a water bottle, they will have an electrolyte bottle, Morton gels, fruits, etc., and repeat it. So this is over 400 meters. So it's not as compressed as it looks. It means you have people can pull in. There's lots of volunteers holding this bottle out. You will grab that, you will secure it, and you move out. So a couple of things here. As I said, back to the risk point. There are people chucking bottles. There are people moving in. There are volunteers stepping out. There are bottles being knocked out of volunteers' hands, etc. Lots of things can be on the ground, lots of debris, and lots of people moving in. You've got to be very clear on when you're going into an aid station. You've got to communicate to someone behind you, I'm going into the aid station, slow down. You got to make sure you make eye contact with a volunteer. Water, please. Be polite. These are volunteers. And then make sure you get it secured and move out. So this is why it's risky, because if people that don't slow down, that don't pay attention to other people around them, that don't look what's in front of them, and they'll end up getting spilling out and then also ruining their day. So take your time. Um, in terms of what's going to be on here, I believe last year was Morton Gels, and typically the drink on course in most European races is precision hydration. I have not been able to confirm that because Norbert couldn't remember. Do check the athlete guide to make sure that this is precision hydration. But 90% of the races, it is precision. Some Spanish are end of it, but that's they're just being a bit different. Um, the fruits tend to be bananas, etc., and a bit of energy bars. Make sure you know what's on the course. Make sure you've got this tied into your nutrition strategy. So I've talked a lot about the aid station, and I might have worried people because I say high risk. It's not if you know what to do. I have a video in the comments below who talk you through how to use an aid station, what you need to practice, shows you demos of what you should be able to do, and sort of key things how to do it. So check it out. Make sure you fill your boots with some great knowledge there. Okay, we are now transitioning back, and we now have cycled into Poznan, away from T1, so we're in a different location for T2. It's beside the train station, and you will have racked your red bag in this location the night before. So, red bag, remember, is bike to run. This is a simpler transition. Again, I talked through what in the different bags in the video below. Make sure to check it out and like. The red bag, essentially the key things you're going to have in here are your runners, and maybe a cap, maybe a run visor, maybe different pair of sunglasses, etc. But you will again, as part of your recce the day before, this is where the day before, when you're knowing your ins and outs, you need to know it as well. Make sure you go and check out T2 and go, okay, I'm coming from this angle from the bike. There's the dismount line. This means you have to stop the bike entirely before you get off it and run into transition. And make sure you know what that is and walk to see where you will be, where your number will be, and where the rack is. Now, remember, you won't have a bike to see it, but just go, okay, I'm number 101. That means I go in, I dismount here, I run with my bike, I take a left, I run down that rack, and I will be in the middle, whatever it is. Take a picture, again, give yourself something to visualize the day before. And also remember, you will be picking up your red bag. In that, you put your helmet, you put whatever else you're going to get rid of. If you're taking your bike shoes off, you can chuck them in there. But my top tip for you is once you get your runners on, start moving. Because we believe in the squad that nothing good happens in T2. And what do I mean by that? Anyone I have seen who sit down, start stretching their legs, start kind of like talking about, oh, was it they dropped their bottle to someone who's willing to listen to them in T2, they have bad run legs. Because if you slow down, it gives you a chance to your muscles to kind of seize up. You were better off just getting the bear, everything, helmet off, put that in the bag putting on if you're going to change your socks, put on your runners. But the minute you have them on, start walking, jogging towards the run exit again, which you will have checked out as part of your recce. That means you will get it'll keep you moving. You can put on your hat as you're walking, running. You can put on your shades. You can take a gel, etc. Don't slow down at T2. T2 should be sharp, smooth, and fast. Just get in, get out. Remember, nothing good happens in T2. Um, the run course is again, it's a 4-lap course for the 70.3. It's essentially park to park. The road surfaces are good. The where are we? So here's T2. This is where the bike is. You will start on the run course. Um, you're mainly on tarmac or concrete. When you start running in through the parks, there's a little bit of grass, but again mainly on kind of was it pavements, etc., and kind of pedestrian. Um, the pavement, the parks themselves, there's lots of trees, etc. There's a bit of shade, but when you're out here, you're quite exposed. It does mean that you're kind of you're needing your heat management strategies need to take up a gear because this is the place where you will feel the heat the most in Poznan. Um, Again, you run past the finish line and you can sort of you can feel that 4 times. You'll hear other faster guys finishing. Don't let that distract you. Make sure that you're just focused and go, listen, that's me in 2 laps time, 3 laps time, whatever it is. Just keep focused. Because it's a 4-loop run course, break it into four for yourself. First loop, just find your legs, make sure you're getting turning over. Laps 2 and 3, get into your race pace, which you will have practiced on your long runs and your bricks in your training sessions. Lap four is always hard, lads. Just suck it up mentally and keep going. Um, but as we're going through all of those laps, as I said, it will get hot. So make sure you take advantage. The aid stations is one every 2.5 kilometers, the way they're set up. So make sure, so yeah, there's an aid station there, an aid station there. It They'll have water, salty snacks, they'll have Coca-Cola as well. Use that on the last couple of laps. It gives you a bit of a sugary boost. They will have ice, which they did. Make sure you take advantage of that in your heat management. So don't miss any of these aid stations. If you're going to be passing them kind of every, was it 2.5 kilometers? Take on board liquid, take on board fuel. But even if you're feeling not under fuel, but you're feeling hot, pour water down your front, put ice down the front of your tri suit, and put it under your cap and put it there. It'll help keep your core temperature down, which will allow you to hold your pace better. And the crowd are brilliant. It's particularly loud around this part. This is a good spot for your family and friends to kind of support because you're near the finish line. There's here they can just walk over gently when you're coming to you're in your final lap and be there for you in the finish line. It is class. It's a super finish line. I'll show you that now. But in terms of getting it done, swim, T1, bike, T2, and run course, you've got 8 hours to get the job done. Fuel well, pace well, and keep on top of your core temperature, and you will get there and you will have a brilliant day out. And this is your reward. Brilliant finish line. As lots of enthusiastic supporters, they will be there. Make sure you milk that. Make sure you high five kids. Make sure you celebrate appropriately, like this lady. Don't be looking at your watch because that will ruin your race day photograph. Um, but overall, it's a super course, and it's a PB course if you race it well. Excuse me. So, just a couple of things on accommodation. If you're going to Poznan, here is something that I found recently and I really enjoy. I really find it useful. I've used it for a couple of my races. Activates.co.uk. They have a sport and events section, which means you can search whether you want to stay, for example, near the finish line in Poznan, or if you want to stay near T1, or if you want to, was it near T2? This, if you enter in Poznan here, it will give you all the best hotels, best prices, best options for you that are specific to that race. No more kind of, oh God, where am I going? And like for me personally, I have booked myself on the wrong side of the island in Mallorca a couple of times. That's why my friends don't allow me doing any logistics. This prevents you from doing it. It means use this URL and put this code in here to save yourself 5% off the booking cost. Same sort of like rules where cancellations apply, as in like so it just means that you will get a really good deal, still have the option to cancel, and you're 100% guaranteed to be in the right place in the race, minimize the stress. Check it out. Race day venue timetable. I picked this up from kind of last year. They might change. So again, don't forget that this video is meant to help but not replace the race day briefing and the athlete's guide. Make sure you check that out. But they had registration open on a Friday and on a Saturday. But that might change. Make sure you check that out. This is not a disclaimer. They might change it, so I'm not going to hold it. Again, make sure you check it beforehand as part of your taper training. You'll get to drop the bike and your bag and your blue bag and your red bag again in different places. So remember to plan for that. But Ironman put on trains that will bring you to T1 the day before. So just make sure you get available on that train and the train timetable. You will pick up your timing chip when you check in your bike, not beforehand. So make sure that you don't forget that. Top tip, just put it on your left ankle for the rest of the day because otherwise it's the one thing you can't forget. You sort of put it down on the counter, go, oh, I must put that in the morning. You can hardly feel it. I just put it on the minute I have and it's just there. It's secure and etc. Race morning transition opens at around 7:15 and it's open to 8:45. Again, check this because they might change this timetable, but then it's a key piece of information. You will be able to get early trains up to it, but that's a bit of logistic planning on your side. Rolling age group started at 9 o'clock. Yeah, last year from what I can gather and what Norbert remembers. So again, check this out. Overall, it's an absolutely brilliant course. It's a PB course. It's a beautiful part of the world. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find the video as useful. If you have other questions on it, you can email me at info@smartenduranceSolutions.com. Or if you have any questions, preference you actually stick them in the video because that means that not only you get the question answered, other people looking at the video will do that as well. That's all from me. Please, again, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a brilliant race day experience in Poznan, and let us know how you got on in the comments. And if you're looking for other, tell your friends about the video, or if you're looking for other race videos, just search in the engine. If you're looking for Austria, I've got that covered. You're looking for Nice, I got that covered. Got you covered. All right, that's me. This is Coach Steve out.